Hello, everyone. Welcome to this week's bi-weekly webinar. Hopefully you can all see my screen. Today, I will be running through how to build some custom workflows. If you haven't seen this tool or this feature in our platform, then today's your day. I'm going to be explaining how to create a workflow, and we've got two really great examples for you. So as you know, I am Jess. I am the head of customer success here at Sota. If you have met me before, then it's great to have you back. If this is our first time, then I'm really glad that you've joined this session. We actually have a very high number of participants at this webinar, so I'm really grateful for all of you giving your time around lunchtime here in the US. So I guess before we get started, I just want to say, if you have any questions that you'd like answered at the end of this webinar, then please have them written down or have them ready to fire off, because at the end of the session, we're going to go into questions, but I am concerned about time. We've got a lot to get through, so hopefully we can get to those questions and have enough time to answer them at the end. So next up, I'm going to do a live demo. So going over to my platform now, hopefully you can all see my screen. This webinar, as I said, is going to be around creating some custom workflows. I have two examples for you. The first example I'm going to run through is an insurance-based workflow that I think might resonate with some of our users. And then the second workflow I'm going to run through is much more geared towards the industry on-site partners that we have in our system. So very self-explanatory. To get started with this creator workflow, there's a little tool on your dashboards here. You want to hover over to the workflows homepage, and there's this tool here that's kind of a different type of box, and this is where you create the process. So when you want to get creating a workflow, you would click Create Now, and it will open up into a chat interface, similarly to what you all know and love in the SoterAI platform. Now, if you're wondering why you might build a custom workflow, what it's for, the idea around this is that you are creating a repeatable process. So if you're the type of user that uses our general chat quite often, and I'll go back and I'll show you what I'm talking about, but our general chat, if you use that prolifically and you have some really great prompts and scripts that you've got that you produce all the time, then this tool is essentially going to create what you've done in general chat in a repeatable process where you will have a custom workflow that will be able to click Use Now. So another reason you might want to build a custom workflow, if you've used some of our other workflows in our dashboard, we've got things like hazard inspection. We've got a few new ones as well. I'm not sure if anyone's seen them, but incident investigations. We've got a few ergonomic advisor workflows, some documentation workflows. If you've used them before and they don't quite hit what you need, or you need it to be tweaked, you need it to be in a certain format, then custom workflow might be a good way for you to recreate that workflow for you and your specific company. So as I said, to create a new workflow, you go into the Create Workflow Now, click Create Now, and you'll pop up with a screen that looks like this. So this is the interface that you're going to work with SoterAI to create this workflow. On the right-hand side, you're going to see a form. Now, first up, you can completely ignore this form. This form is for the AI to complete. All you have to worry about is putting what you need into the chat on the left-hand side. So if anyone here has heard of a new term in the AI world, it's called vibe coding. And that's essentially what we're going to be doing today. We are vibe coding what we want to build. So you speak in plain English or plain language about what you want to build, and the AI puts it all together and creates this workflow for you. So first up, the first example I'm going to show you is an insurance-based workflow. Don't worry if you're in an industry that's coming soon. After I do this one. Now I'm going to try and show you the microphone. Hopefully it works on this webinar. But this microphone talk to text feature is a really powerful tool in our platform, because it essentially allows you to talk to the AI in your own kind of speech, and you don't have to worry about typing, because sometimes it is hard to put everything that you want to get across onto a typed message. Sometimes you just want to speak it out. So today I'm going to purely speak out what I want this workflow to do. So bear with me. Hi, SoterAI. I want to create a custom workflow. It's for loss control consultants in the insurance industry. So basically, what happens is they do a site visit, they take photos, they write up notes. Maybe they've got some loss run data and the client, the claims history. And then we have to go back and write this massive report, which takes forever. And the thing is that the report never actually gets connected to what's actually happening on the claim side. Like the claims team has no idea what the loss control person found on site. They're just dealing with claims as they come in. So I want a workflow to fix that. It should firstly take in whatever the consultant, so the safety insurance consultant, puts into the workflow, say photos, notes, and whatever they've got. The loss run data should already be in the data sources. So you can pull from there automatically. Then it should build like a risk profile for that client. What are the big hazards? What's the severity? And then, it should also cross reference those hazards against the client's actual claim history. So it should go, hey, this slip hazard you found on site, that's already generated 3 claims. That's the connection that nobody's making right now. And then I also want it to flag that if any of the open claims could have been predicted by what I or the loss control person has found, like if there's a forklift claim sitting open and the consultant flagged forklift traffic as a hazard, the workflow should connect those dots and maybe draft something for the claims team, like a defensibility memo or whatever you call it. And can you create this in a draft email for this in my inbox? And also, I want to add in a specific report template. I don't have one. I want you to make your best judgment. Make it look professional and structured and something that a loss control consultant would actually hand to a client. And there should be 2 other outputs. One that goes to the client, like a proper loss control report that they can action, and one that's internal for the insurer. Still going? Yep. I just checked that the microphone was still going. As you can see, I can keep talking and it won't pick up that. But next up, I'm going to ask it to make sure that there's a loss control report, one for the insurer, like a claims advisory that tells the claim team what to watch out for, and then a follow-up letter to the client, like a 30, 60, 90-day action plan. And if the consultant is seeing the same hazards across multiple clients in the same industry, I want to flag that too, like a portfolio. So the loss control manager can see trends across their whole book. Can you build me a workflow that does all of that? Now, thank you for bearing with me, everyone, on this webinar. I was wanting to show you how the microphone talk to text works, and it looks like it did quite well. I was checking over here that it's all captured, and this is really to show you how the workflow or how SoterAI can take all of that information, that jargon, and go, okay, how do I build this perfectly for Jess? So I'm going to send that in now. That's all I'm giving it. It's going to now take that input and go, okay, everything that I've asked it to do, it's going to start systematically putting together all of the information it needs for this workflow to operate. So what you'll notice is that it will start processing all of that information. And if you remember in there, I started talking just at you guys. It's smart enough to know that that's not part of the workflow. So don't feel like you have to be perfect in everything you tell it, because it's going to be pretty smart and know what to do from there. So we'll give it a few minutes. It's going to go through, systematically fill out all of these details. We'll give it, hopefully it should be pretty quick. While we're waiting, there's a few other things you can do. So I'm not going to do it in my example, but if you have a template, so you've got your own company specific branded template that has some headings, some fonts, some formatting, you can put that into the chat and say, this is the template that I want this output report to be in. Now, it's going to put it on a Canvas report, so the structure will be there, but it will still be able to give you a report that's pretty similar to what you've got. I say that now, but in the next few days, if not a week or so, we are going to be releasing a new tool that can do that. So be excited for that one. The other thing you can do while you're in this workflow building, it's not finished yet, we haven't created it, you can also add things in to the inputs section. Think of this inputs in this workflow as a mini data sources. So things that the AI should reference as part of this workflow. Now, you might have remembered in my spiel that I said I want it to also look at data sources. So you can ask it, make sure as part of this, you look at the data sources section and you put in references to what you've got saved against that client. So, for example, this one I've added some actual data sources for this client. I'll show you. Uh, Not yet, actually. I haven't. I will do that next. Bear with me. So now with the workflow builder, we've got this workflow. As you saw on the right-hand side, I did not touch a single thing in there. It is all the AI's filled it out. So all of this is AI created, and it's the AI going, okay, how can I phase this workflow out in the right amount of steps and create this perfectly for Jess? So as you can see, all of the instructions, it's done all of it for me. Now, again, if you did want to manually do this, you can. You are more than welcome to manually go in, change the title, change the description, maybe make some tweaks in the instructions, but it's really not necessary because the AI can do all of that for you. And got to work harder, not work smarter, not harder. So one thing now to do is to create the record. And this is now going to create this workflow on my homepage. So we can see here the loss control, site visit, and claims intelligence workflow is the title. So once I click create, we can now go over to the workflows homepage. And where is it? Here it is. Loss control, site visit, and claims intelligence workflow. As you can see, I've built a few workflows in my time. This is working with our partners. But now this is essentially a workflow that you can use and put all of the details in that you need. So the pictures of the site, the loss run data. And so I'm going to do that now just to show you how you can actually use this. So in data sources, remember, you can go in, you can go, let's go upload data. Let's drag over this loss data. This is actually for my fictitious company called Acme. I know you've probably heard that word before. I think it's a Looney Tunes thing. But this is the loss run data that I'm going to have it analyze against. So I've added it in. You see here it's enabled. For now, that's all I need to worry about. I don't need to worry about risk intelligence. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to click use now. And I have a few photos that I'm going to add into this workflow. So as you can see, it starts like any of our workflows. I've clicked use now and it's ready to go. And here it goes. It goes, okay, I'm ready to run this workflow. What's required? Some site visit details. It's going to ask me for some photos, some details of the client, the loss run claims history that's already in data sources. I'll put the name of the client. So I'm just going to go number one, make this up. I'm just going to tell the AI to test it for me. 2 site visits attached, 3 consultant notes. I don't have any notes. 4 loss run saved to data sources, and any additional documents? None. So that's all the information I'm going to give it. Obviously, if you actually had a client name that you would put in their client details, so their name, their date of the visit, the consultant name, the scope of the visit, and that's now going to go through and run the whole workflow for me. So as you can see, some of these photos, there's a few issues in there, and you'll be able to see it in the report that comes out. So I'll just make sure this is going, and then we'll switch gears into the industry example because I don't want to wait around for this. All right, it's analyzing. Cool. So the next example I'm going to show you is much more geared towards the industries. So logistics, manufacturing, some of our really prominent users are in those industries. So today's example for industry, I'm going to do a little bit of a different workflow. This workflow, as you know, we have a lot of safety professionals as our main users in the platform. And that is great because this is exactly what the tool is designed to do. But sometimes I like to think outside the box and I think, what can we build as a safety professional for our potential frontline staff? So I've created this example as a way to show you how you can think in terms of how can I give my frontline staff the tools and the necessary resources to be able to do their job safely and efficiently. So I actually have a speech that I was going to read for this to show you the microphone talk to text, but it takes too long. So I am literally just going to copy over what I created. So in this, it says, I want to build a workflow. This one's different. I'll send it so it keeps going. I've got here, it's a bit different. It's not for me as a safety manager. It's something I want to build for my frontline workers. It's the problem is that we have written so many lockout tagout procedures, years and years of data. We've got good procedures, but all of that just sits behind documents that my frontline staff don't read. So I'm essentially wanting to create a workflow that goes through. It does so. What I want in the workflow, I'll read it for you word for word. They're going to be on their phone or their tablet. They just need to describe the job or take a photo of the job that they're about to do and explain what areas, what details that the AI needs to know. And then the AI goes then and creates or generates what our lockout tagout procedure is. So I've added lockout tagout procedures. It's probably easier to read off the actual details. So I'm not reading off my actual waffled script. But this is when a worker describes the job you're about to perform in their own words. The workflow automatically identifies the relevant equipment and the organization's equipment roster, retrieves or reconstructs the applicable lockout tagout procedure from existing data sources, and generates a complete field-ready package that includes a plain language lockout tagout isolation procedure based on our own documents, and a pre-filled permit to work with hazards and controls already populated in a step-by-step SOP, written in simple language the worker can follow in real time. I've also said that, add a toolbox talk that the supervisor can then run with the crew before the work begins, and a sign-off record the worker completes at the end of to confirm each step was followed. So this is the workflow. As you can see, the AI has just gone and done a fantastic job of adding all of these details in. Again, if you had your own output template, so the report specific to your company template, then you can add that into outputs. If there's any inputs that you want just to be in this workflow and you don't want to add it to data sources, then you can. But I'm going to add these into data sources so it can reference my lockout tagout procedure and my equipment register. So bear with me while I go and add that into data sources. While we wait, I'm going to create this as a record, which is going to create this lockout tagout field assistant workflow for me. Now in data sources, I feel like this is good. I'm showing you how to add these in. So bear with me while I add in a few of these bits and pieces. So I've got a lockout tagout procedure, a permit to work template, and an Acme manufacturing equipment register. It's going to go through and add them all now. And this workflow is now in my workflows custom workflows section. So I'm going to click use now and get that started. So with this one, what I'm going to do is the first thing it's going to ask me for is details of the job that you're about to do. So what machine or equipment needs work, where is it located, what's the job, any other details. I'm going to add in this photo. I'll show you that when I send it. And I'm also going to say, these are the details. So this workflow is a demo for you guys that are on the call right now. I'm saying I need to do a belt replacement on a conveyor line 3 in bay 2. I've got a 480V motor and a pneumatic tensioner. Just me and a spotter should take about 45 minutes. That's all the details I'm giving them. And this is the photo of the work that I'm about to do. I'm a fictitious person on site right now doing some maintenance. So now, as we instructed the AI, it's going to do its research. It's going to find our lockout tagout procedure. It's going to find the equipment bay, the register. It's going to do some digging into what I need to see as the frontline staff to be able to complete this task safely. So it's doing its job. Let's leave that for a few minutes and let's go over to this other workflow that we had going. As you know, our AI is absolutely phenomenal at doing work, but it can take some time depending on the size of the task. So this is going to be providing me with all of the outputs that I requested, the report with the full findings of everything that we've found that it found in the photos, as well as linking it to the loss control data that I uploaded to data sources. So obviously this still needs a little bit longer. So while we wait, I'm happy to open the floor up to questions. So If you do have a question that you want me to answer while we're waiting, say, how could I do this specific type of task? Or maybe, you've tried to create a workflow and it hasn't quite done what you need it to do. Now is the time to ask. So if you have the ability to put into the questions, please feel free. Great question. We've got a user asking, can we edit a custom workflow, delete or share it? Yes, you can. I'm really glad you've asked that. Thank you. So when I actually finished this, when this was going to output the report, I was going to show you how to edit it. But for now, we can go in and actually show you how to do that. So if, say you get a response from the workflow, you've tested it out, it's not quite what you need to edit it, you can go straight back to that same chat where you created it. And you can say to it like, hey, SoterAI, I need you to tweak some things. I need it to be less detailed in the report or any changes you really want. Once you've done that, you've sent that in. Actually, I'll show you how it works. I need to tweak some things. Can you change the output to be a PowerPoint presentation? Just let's do that. Say you got a Canvas document and you wanted it to actually be in a PowerPoint. You ask the AI understands, and the AI goes in and makes the edits. So one little tip and trick, look at the number of characters in the instructions box. I've got 5,783. When the AI makes the changes, there's almost definitely going to be a change in the number of characters. So keep an eye on that number. If it doesn't change, then you might need to check that it's edited the instructions. But I've been pretty explanatory, so it should actually go in and make those edits for me. Yeah, see, the agent says updating record form. So we'll give that a second. And yeah, while we wait, I think we've got another question coming through. So please ask your questions, keep them coming. The more we get, the better. Here we go. We've got one more that I'll get to after this, but yes, the AI has now edited the form. So you'll see here, 6,686 is the new character limit. So that tells me, okay, it's made the changes. All you would do is click save, and that then goes and saves it as the new workflow. So it updates the existing one, doesn't create a new one. So if you wanted to save that, you would click save, and then that would be live. Now, if you did want to share it, over on the left-hand side, right now we have this custom workflows section under records management. So in here is where you're going to see all of the workflows that you've built. In my case, I've got quite a few here. You might not be able to see it like this. So make sure you go over to columns, select title, and then you can see kind of the name of the workflow you've created. The 3 dots over here is where you can archive it if you want to delete it. Or if you want to share it, you can go into that specific workflow that you've built, export it as a PDF, and send that to someone else that you want them to then add it into the workflow builder tool. So that's how you share it. Hopefully that's answered your question. Now, next question. We've got, at what level can a custom workflow be shared across an organization, specifically when there are multiple employees at a low administrative levels? Very good question. So I've showed you how to share it here. This is quite manual. It's not the best way. We recognize that. Our next release, we're going to be creating a much easier way to share the custom workflows across your organization. So your other workspaces, you can choose which workspaces that they live in. For now, it is manual. You do have to go in here, export it, and the AI will know if you add that PDF to a workflow builder, it will copy that exactly and create it as a workflow. So the next question, can you show me again where you go to start a new workflow? Okay, so when you're first in the platform, you'll see on the left-hand side, we've got workflows as one of the pages. This is where you'll see all of the workflows that you've built, all of our existing workflows, and this over here is where you can create a new one yourself. So it's a box with a dotted line. It's a little bit different. So this is where you create that process. Great questions, guys. We're getting so many. Next one. We've got, are we able to sort our chats or create project files similar to ChatGPT? I would love to organize my chats by topic, Lockout Tagout, electrical safety, machine guarding, set standards, or give Soda a prompt, and then use that space to launch chats within that siloed project. Great question from that user. There's a few ways that you could do this because I know that when you go to your history, you see this full history and it's not the cleanest UI. We are cleaning this up, so we are making it so that it's a lot easier to filter and find information. There is a way that you can search. So, say if you've got a few of these lockout tagout field assistant workflows run, you could just type in Lotto or lockout tagout, and then you'll see all of those relevant workflows that you've done. Otherwise, there is a way if you go back to your workspace homepage. So I'm going back to my homepage, and this is only for our enterprise partners. So if you're on our starter package, then unfortunately you don't have this ability. This is a very much enterprise package feature. If you go back to your first page, your Workspaces homepage, and if you didn't see where I got to it, you'd click on, say, the first option after home up the top in the left there. Here is where you can create new workspaces. And this is where I really highly recommend, like, you can create essentially siloed little project files. So to answer your question, you can create separate workspaces for your clients, or if in your case for projects specifically, and that keeps all the work separate. So that might be a better way to go for you to be able to keep all of the work you're doing separate so you don't just have one big jumbled chat history. Great questions. And obviously, this is my workspace, so I've got quite a few examples. Now, let's see if our examples are finished. Hopefully, we've got some results for you. Here we go. All right. So this workflow is finished. This is the lockout tagout procedure workflow. So we've got here all of the details. So document 1, this is the first output that I requested. Document 2, permit to work. So it's filled in the details. Document 3. Now, me personally, I'm like, oh, why is it all in one document? Like, come on, SoterAI. So I would go back into the chat where I created this workflow and go, no, I've just done this workflow. I've got one document with like 5 embedded documents in one. I want them all to be separate. 5 separate work documents, work things that I can then export and have them all separate. So that might be something that you go back and edit it. So I don't mind that result though. Going over to our loss control example, not this one. Here it is. So this is the workflow that we created for the insurance industry. So to give you an idea, we started the workflow. It asked for the details. I've given it some details about the client. These are the photos. So I don't know if you saw them before, but we've got some photos in there that aren't super safe. There's that one. There's this one. We've got some cracking and issues with the framing there. And then also, look at that pedestrian forklift interactions, terrible. So now the output for this was exactly as I described. I've asked it for a full comprehensive report. Again, it's giving me output 1, and then I think it's probably put it in the next one, output 2. So I'm going to go back and say, no, these need to be separate documents. But what I wanted to show you with this is the ability for it to go and research what you have in your data sources. So in this case, some of those photos, it's picked up that there's these hazards. So it's looking at unprotected open dock pit. Yep, that's definitely an issue. Cracked concrete at rack base plate. Yep, we noticed that. Now, the thing I want to show is the claims cross-reference summary. So I've added a fictitious loss run. It's not real, so I'm not sharing any sensitive data right now, but it's picked up that there is some associated open claims with what I've found on site. And that's how you can bring claims and loss control into the same room to be able to be much more proactive. Hopefully everyone's still following and we've not gotten annoyed with my voice, but that is essentially everything I wanted to show you. Are there any more questions while we wait? I think we've answered all the questions. We had some really good questions today, guys. I truly appreciate your putting them into the chat. I also appreciate everyone who's attended. We've got a record number of attendees at this webinar, and I'm really, really grateful for the time that you've spent to come and hear me speak for the last half an hour. If there is anything that you want help with, you want to jump in a call with me or try and create something together, I always welcome a chat. So if you do want to reach out, my you should have my email by now, I'd hope. But if you can't find it, then it should be on the Soda Help Center. And yeah, reach out, feel free. We can jump in a call, build a custom workflow together. This is my bread and butter. I love it. So I hope you guys get the most out of it as well. Thank you everyone so much for your time, and I'll see you in the next 2 weeks.